We're going to test our strategies on a Bitcoin 5-minute chart, and for our first strategy we're only going to need one indicator. And that indicator is called Heikin-Ashi RSI. Okay, so we have our indicator on our chart, but we see it's got a lot of noise and false signals, so we're going to have to double click on it and adjust settings first. So we're going to change the inputs from 1 to 7, and we're going to change the style as well. Okay, so after adjusting our indicator, we see it looks much better and it has less false signals. So this is exactly what we need. Okay, so the entry rules are very simple. We're going to use this indicator to identify and catch those reversals. Even though I do not encourage to trade reversals, I always say we should go with the trend. This video is going to be an exception. So for a short position, we're going to have to wait until these green histograms enter this oversold area. And once this happens, we're going to enter a short position on the first bearish histogram. So in this example, we would have entered a short trade on this bearish candlestick, and we would have set our stop loss at the recent swing high. And we would target 1.5 to 1 risk to reward ratio. There we go. We see the price went in our favor and we just hit our first take profit. The opposite works when entering long trades. We need to wait for these bearish histograms to get into this oversold area. And once this happens, we're going to have to wait for the first bullish histogram, and this is where we would enter a long position on this candlestick right here. So we would have taken that trade right there, and we would have set our stop loss at the recent swing low, and we would target 1.5 times the risk. So there we go. We see we have another profitable trade. Here's another example for a long trade. We see the histogram just got into this oversold area, and now we have this tiny bullish histogram right there. So we're gonna have to enter a long trade on this candlestick right here, and we're going to set our stop loss at the recent swing low. We're going to target 1.5 times the risk, and let's see what happens. Oh, there we go. The price went in our favor and we hit our take profit target. A very important thing to mention, we wouldn't have entered the trade if we only have these wicks touching this oversold or overbought area. So we need to wait until the whole candlestick, the whole histogram actually enters into one of these areas. Here's also another example of a short trade. We see these big bullish histograms just got into this red zone, and now we have this tiny little bearish histogram right there. So we would have entered the trade on this candlestick right here, and we would have set our stop loss the recent swing high, and we would target 1.5 times the risk. So we see the price nearly hit our stop loss, but we didn't panic, we didn't close the trade, and we eventually collected our profits. Right after this trade, we had a bullish signal right here. As we can see, these red histograms just entered this green zone, so we would have entered the trade right there. Would have set our stop loss at the recent swing low and set our take profit target. So we see the price didn't quite hit our take profit target, and now we need to wait. So the price keeps moving in this sideways direction and eventually hits our stop loss. So this was a losing trade. Okay, so now you know the rules. Let's test the system out for 100 times and see the results. Okay, so we finally finished our backtesting and the results are as bad as I expected because we're trading reversals. So we started our account with £1,000 and we were risking 2% in order to make 3. So our win rate is at 45%, it's really low. We had 24.48% gains on our account, which is pretty average. But also just take a look at all these losses. The growth is very inconsistent. We had a massive drawdown of around 10% right here. So this is not acceptable at all. Imagine if you had started trading somewhere here. You would have had all these losses and it would be so hard for you to recover after these losses, if not impossible. So let's actually add that secret tool to our chart and see how we can improve our win rate. But before we do that, I just want to show you all these losing trades we had with this system. So we had a short trade right there. We see the signal. We took a short trade. We got stopped out. Another short trade right here. We took a trade. We got stopped out. And the third one right here. We got stopped out as well. So a lot of false signals. Also, the next trade right here. We had a strong selling signal right here. We took a short position. Put our stop loss at the recent swing high and we got stopped out as well. So how can we actually eliminate all these losses? So in order to eliminate the majority of these losses, we're going to add another indicator to our chart, and that's going to be a volume oscillator. So if you watched my previous videos, you probably know how this indicator works. So we can only enter the trade if this blue line is above this 0 line. If the line is below, this means that we have not got any volume in the market, so we avoid taking that trade. Okay, so let's actually see. So our first trade right here, we had a short signal. We had our line above 0, so we would have taken that trade. So that was one loss. The next trade right here, we see the line is below 0, so we avoided that loss. This trade as well. You see the line is below 0 as well. So that's 2 losses avoided. And our next trade, you see. So that's 3 losses eliminated. 3 out of 4. So that's a pretty good number. So let's actually backtest this system one more time and compare the results. Okay, so after backtesting our system for the second time with our secret tool, we see the results are way better. So we started our account with £1,000 and we didn't change our risk to reward ratio. But take a look at this win rate, it's 61%. So we literally went from 40 to 60% just by adding another tool to our chart. So that's a 50% increase. We also increased our account size by 176%, and that's in a span of 30 days. We did have less signals, but those signals were more accurate. Also, take a look at how consistently the account was growing. So we took off right away. We maybe had like 4 losses in a row, which makes 8% of drawdown, but it's not that bad. We recovered really quickly. So yeah,